G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be covering everything about the prize pool split for FNCS. You guys have been asking me so much on Twitter, on YouTube, on my streams. Aussie, what is your opinions on the prize pool? Specifically, usually asking me about OCE, because if you haven't seen, OCE is getting $90,000, less than 1/13 of what EU does for their FNCS. And I genuinely think this prize pool is so low that it could lead to the complete death of OCE as a competitive region. I don't want to just cover that though. You guys have been asking me, do I think that EU is worth so much more than NA and everything else? So I'm going to cover all of that in today's video. And I know I'm a little bit biased, so don't worry. I reached out to a bunch of other big pros and big names in the community to get their opinions as well. So I'm not just presenting my point because it is going to be biased. The prize pools were released over a week ago, but in case you missed it, just to cover it, to give you a refresher, you currently have $3 million being split up for this FNCS. EU is getting 1.35 million, NA East is getting 690,000, NA West and Brazil are getting 300,000, Asia 150,000, Middle East 120,000, and OCE 90,000. Now, I also want to talk about how later in the video, based on the standpoint that I think Epic is taking with this prize pool and saying that more players equals more money, not more value as far as viewership, then I don't understand how console prize pool got taken out. Whether I agree with console prize pool being taken out or not, I'm very confused at the stance Epic is taking with how they want to do the prize pool, because I find it contradicts quite a lot. It looks like they're giving money to the top end. They really want to reward the top 100 players of each region. That's why you only get money in the grand finals, but then they're picking regions that have proven to not have as good players at the top level to have more prize pool, which maybe makes me think that they're going off just player base. Like they've said, player pool is what's going to fuel the prize money, but then console has a massive player base, and surely more of those console players aren't going to play knowing they don't have a chance at prize money anymore. So if your philosophy is to reward people who play in opens because you want more people to play and more people to spend money on, then why was console prize pool taken away, but then you made the PC prize pool insanely top heavy, but then you gave it to regions with more players? I'm really confused on just that area alone. To start off the conversation, we need to talk about how Epic actually said that they decided this prize pool. So they said, we plan to have 4 FNCS seasons in 2021, each with a $3 million prize pool for a total of 12 million. The distribution across all regions for the $3 million prize pool is currently based on the most recent competitive participation and regional game population. So they've said that they're basing the prize pool off how many people are competing and how many people are playing. And this is where you can maybe understand where the OCE prize pool comes from, and on face value, that's a pretty fair metric. If a region's smaller, they have way less people playing, they should get way less money, and I agree with that. But what I need to get clear from the start is what I want to talk about today is how much value a region actually brings the game compared to just how many people are playing in it. The way FNCS is now formulated is only 693 people are gonna get money in the world for FNCS. Less than 100 people are getting money in the world, because you're only giving out money during the grand finals. So while I get the player pool size matters a lot, and that's why I'm not going to be arguing whether cash cups deserve their prize pool, because I mean, OC's cash cup prize pool is literally a joke at this point. But again, we have so few players and our average player is not great. So I agree that when they go head to head and it's an opens format, sure. But when you look at grand finals and you're only rewarding the top 100, I genuinely want to ask the question, do you think OC's top 100 is worth so little? I can guarantee you can name so many pros from the OCE region, so many more than even Brazil, Asia, Middle East. And don't freak out, don't panic. I'm going to talk about how I get language barrier comes into that. And that's why I don't want to be too biased coming from being an OCE, but also being an English speaker, that I'm clearly going to have more favor towards OCE than other regions. But I genuinely think when I reach out to the wider community and I ask people in the community, do you think OCE is worth just a little over half of what Asia is getting? A lot of people turn around and tell you that's ridiculous when you're looking at the top 100, because that's what FNCS is. It's bringing in viewership and it's bringing in attention. It's not really bringing in that many players, because obviously there's 3 weeks of open qualifiers, and yes, I believe that matters as far as participation making money, but really, in my opinion, FNCS should be there for viewership and to bring attention to the game's best. And I truly think that OCE's best top 100 is worth so much more than this. The biggest concern with a prize pool like this for OCE as well is the fact that, like every OCE esport, CSGO, Valorant, any of them, League of Legends, they all end up dying, and this is going to cause the exponential death of OCE. And what I mean by that is the rate that it dies at increases the rate that it dies at. It dies exponentially. So already we've had so many big names and pros that were already on the verge of quitting in OCE are now going to quit, and then the really good ones are going to go to another region. And while I do support that, going to a bigger, better region to compete, which is awesome, the fact that OCE is just going to get worse and worse from here on out is so terrible. If they're basing this off player pool size, less people are going to play, more people are going to quit, the games are going to get worse, the practice is going to get worse, more people are going to quit, the game's going to get worse prize money, and so on and so on. You can see the cycle that I see coming, and that's what concerns me about OCE in particular. I think the other regions do need to be adjusted as well, though. I don't want to talk just about OCE here. I know, again, that's my region, and not a lot of you guys care about it as much, but even NA East getting half the prize pool of EU, I have to question that as well. Based on that same logic path, do I think that EU is bringing in double the attention and double the worth of NA East? Not really, but again, NA East prize pool is still substantial enough where it's worth people sticking around for, and especially the bigger guys in NA East that bring that attention, they're still going to make content, and I believe that's what Epic believes as well. They know that even if they cut down the prize pool, even for OCE, the big names and the big players will still keep playing, which will still keep bringing the value and the attention. At the end of the day, I get it, Epic Games is a business. They need to invest and they need to make a return on their investment. I truly think that the prize pools of old were way too much. Like, I remember the skirmish days where they would randomly decide that in one game, whoever gets the most amount of kills before Storm Surge gets $50,000. Like, that was never sustainable, and I fully understand that. I think a $3 million FNCS isn't so bad, but I do think it could be shifted around a little bit better in certain regards. So again, do I think OCE is worth more than Asia and Middle East? I personally do, but that's why I reached out to other big names in the community to see if they agree as well, because obviously I am very biased. So let me show you some of their opinions. So like I said, I made a tweet and I've reached out to people in the community to get their opinions on this who I respect, who wouldn't be as biased as me. And people like Zayt reached out and said OCE should get a bigger prize pool considering the level of top pro / viewership, agreeing with my theory. But if we're talking about the amount of player / revenue OCE is bringing in, probably not. So he said maybe a bigger prize pool, but nothing crazy. So Zayt does agree that OCE brings in a lot of viewership and attention for the top pros, but he still does ultimately believe that the amount of players that are playing in a region is what directly affects profit. And that's kind of what leads into what BallaTW said as well. So BallaTW responded saying, viewership and quality wise, sure, but the reality is number of players in opens is what drives value for Epic. Viewership / quality is what keeps that number at its highest, but it doesn't drive money. And that's kind of where I start to draw that divide. Do I fully agree? And again, I massively respect Baller's opinion. I get it. Maybe open players play the game more, so they spend more money on the game, and that is what's driving worth for Epic. And whether I agree with Baller or not, I don't even know if Baller fully agrees with that statement, or he used to. He just knows that that's not what Epic agrees with. Epic agrees the fact that players is key. More players equals more money. I don't think they're looking at the viewership side of things. They're not really looking at that side of things like I am. I'm a little bit scared because I think that's more short-sighted. I really do think that competitive Fortnite is one of the things that's driving the game's popularity, and watching the best of the best compete makes you want to get better. It lets you see what the absolute skill ceiling is of a game, and then you want to play it more to improve. I get that content creators help that as well, but I think that competitive Fortnite is one of the key elements of the reason why Fortnite was so successful. The skirmish days were insane. Watching the best of the best go at it, it was super, super exciting, and I love that FNCS is leading back into that prize pool of only rewarding the top 100. That's why I kind of see it sad that then they have that philosophy on rewarding top 100, but then they don't have the same philosophy of these players are better in this region of OCE compared to another region's top 100. I don't want to restart this debate because I think it's finally settled down, but the one thing that I question is if Epic truly does believe that player pool and people playing in opens is what drives value to Fortnite, then why didn't we keep the console prize pool? Because console was bringing a lot of players to competitive, and I guess maybe Epic thinks that even against PC players, they're still going to play opens, and I'm excited to see that data. How many people played console competitive before when they had a prize pool, and how many are going to play now when they don't have a specific prize pool? Because if we're leaning towards player base equals money because they're spending money on the game, then you can't argue that console deserves a prize pool. You can't have it both ways. At the end of the day, the scariest part about this is looks like it's not going to change, and that's what I'm kind of reaching out to for you console guys as well. I get that you're frustrated and people are trying to, you know, protest and try to give their opinion to get it back, but I don't think the prize pool's changing. It looks like based on that blog post, it was very definitive. This is the plan for 2021. All of it. This is how all 4 FNCSs are going to work. This is how the prize pool split is going to be. I hope maybe they adjust it. I hope as statistics change or shift, because they can't fully have 100% understanding of how it's going to work until it happens. Maybe they'll go back and change things, but I'm not entirely hopeful. But I still wanted to give my opinion, give my thoughts, because you guys are always asking for it. And apparently a bunch of you think that everything I say happens and I work at Epic Games. So let's see. Let's see if the OCE prize pool changes at all. If you guys liked today's video, please chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you think any region deserves more prize pool? Thank you so much for watching all my content. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.